plus the boom of buy now, pay later loans.
And in sports, the first round of the tournament play for high school boys basketball begins. Newswatch starts right now. Early voting is officially underway across Ohio. Good evening, I'm Cameron Nutt.
And I'm Haley Swayno. Welcome to Newswatch. Well, you are going to be taking a live look at the Athens County Board of Elections office, where people from across the county had their first chance to vote in the March 19th primary today.
In this election, there are changes in voter ID requirements that you need to know about. Ohio voters are now required to show a government-issued photo ID when voting in person. This could be your driver's license, state ID card, passport, or military ID card. The changes were made in 2022. Check on early voting hours. Head to your local Board of Elections office website.
As for voters who are voting by mail, the Ohio Secretary of State office says absentee ballots are currently being sent out. If you would like to vote by mail but have not applied yet, don't worry. The deadline to do so is March 12th. Head to voteohio.gov to apply today. And you can do more than just vote on Election Day. The Ohio Secretary of State office is still looking for poll workers for the primary and general election in November. If interested, you can also head to voteohio.gov to register.
One of the races on the March primary ballot is for Athens County Treasurer. The two Democrats running for the position made their case to voters during a candidate forum. Democrats will have the choice between Athens City Council member Beth Clodfelter and Nelsonville City Treasurer Taylor Sappington. Clodfelter says she wants people to know she is honest and ethical. Sappington says his experience in Nelsonville qualifies him for the position. Both say they want to find compromises that benefit all of Athens County's taxpayers.
We can avoid the topics that make us want to yell at each other. There's a lot of common ground that can be reached.
My focus will be what is the job actually getting done and what are the results?
Current County Treasurer Rick Wasserman endorsed Clodfelter earlier this year.
Well, a Marietta couple appeared in court for charges relating to the death of their 5-month-old daughter. 23-year-old Noah Six pleaded not guilty to 5 charges relating to the death. 22-year-old Shyla Day has not yet entered a plea since she has yet to find an attorney. They both face charges of involuntary manslaughter, reckless homicide, and endangering children. Police allege Day and Six abused their baby along with an 18-month-old sibling. Day and Six remain in custody at the Washington County Jail, and a trial date has not been set. Well, the Ohio Supreme Court delivered a win for cities collecting income taxes from remote workers during the pandemic. The court upheld a 2020 state law allowing cities to continue to get income tax from workers who worked but didn't live in those cities. At stake was potentially hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayer refunds, which would have blown huge holes in cities' budgets. The court ruled the law is unconstitutional because the U.S. Constitution covers interstate taxation, but not intrastate taxation.
A growing number of Ohio colleges and universities are announcing major shifts in their budgets as schools all over the state face budget deficits. 6 colleges, including Marietta College, along with Kent State and Youngstown State University, announcing looming cuts. Todd Jones, president of the Association of Independent Colleges and Universities of Ohio, says the cuts reflect a drop in the number of college students across the state, along with a shift in student interest and demographics. You are taking a live look at Nelsonville City Square, and I don't know about you, Haley, but I sure had my shorts on today, and it's only February.
Yeah, Cam, I mean, it honestly feels more like April today than February, if I'm being honest. So here to tell us more is lead forecaster Emily Dietz. Emily, it felt like spring today. It was really nice outside. What'd you get outside and do?
For sure. I was really just walking to class, but I had a great time watching everyone really enjoy the weather. And, you know, you saw people playing sports, people in hammocks, and I wish I could be out there too. But luckily outside, it's still nice weather we're seeing right now. So if you didn't get the chance earlier today to get outside and enjoy those beautiful, beautiful conditions, you still have plenty of time because current temperatures are about 59 degrees right now, and we're still seeing some clear skies, although this will be shifting in the next couple of hours. But that doesn't change the temperature too much right now, so go ahead, go outside, take a walk, play some sports, and really enjoy these conditions. Current highs recorded for the area are Zanesville 59, Newark says 23, however that is just a glitch. Newark is still in the same 59, 60 degree range, and Lancaster about 61, so definitely a very warm, really a nice day out today, and I really hope you all get the chance to really enjoy this weather because we're going to be seeing a shift here in the next couple of hours, especially going on into tomorrow. Even right now we're starting to see some clouds push in from the west over the state, and we're starting to push away from those clear skies, especially as we go into these nighttime hours. We're seeing a 70% chance of showers starting around 11 p.m. into the midnight hours depending on where you are in the state. We're also going to see a low of 42, so definitely different from what we saw last night. Last night we were down in the 20s, and it was definitely a cooler night, a lot of wind going on because we also had those clear skies allowing a lot of that radiation to go out. But since we're going to have these clouds rolling in, it's going to keep us nice and warm. But we are expecting some rain tomorrow, so stay tuned to Newswatch to find out just how much rain we're expecting.
Thanks, Emily. Well, officials plant the first seed at the new Buckeye State Tree Nursery. Governor Mike DeWine joined Ohio Department of Natural Resources Director Mary Mertz, and they were in Zanesville today to open the nursery. The one-of-a-kind nursery will focus on growing hardwood-producing trees. The nursery is located on the previous Zanesville nursery, which closed in 2003. DeWine says this is a huge step towards protecting and replenishing forests across Ohio.
You know, if that tree has been there 200 years, 300 years, you can bet that, you know, those acorns or the walnuts or whatever it is are probably pretty strong, and will have a good life and will produce good trees, and that's what we want.
Initially, nursery trees will support various ODNR conservation projects, but in time will be available for purchase by the public.
The Ohio State Fair announces the first shows taking place at the fair this summer. On July 24th, the first night of the fair, Kids Bop Live will take the stage, followed by country band Alabama and singer Jade Eagleson on the next day. Dayton funk band The Ohio Players with R&B group Midnight Star will perform on August 2nd. Tickets for these concerts go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. on the Ohio State Fair's website. Coming up, new charges against 2 people in connection with a mass shooting in Kansas City.
And a changing consumer credit landscape is on the horizon. What you can do.
Clouds are rolling into the area, and we're expecting a rainy day, even some thunderstorms tomorrow. Stay tuned to Newswatch to find out how this will impact you.
Russians have entered the city. The war has begun, and we have to tell its story. If the world saw everything that happened in Mariupol, it would give at least some meaning to this horror.
Thursday at 10 on WOUB.
We're creating a mixed income community. Being low income shouldn't bar you from experiencing a higher quality of life.
I have grown up in a journalism environment where I was frequently the only woman in the room.
At some points, a row of trees went in.
I feel segregated. They were planted to hide this community.
We live in a virtual reality world. Everybody everywhere knows what's going on. So people are aware that there's a problem here.
I wanted her story told, and I felt good that I was the one that was able to tell it.
I know how to do other things to survive.
Rise up and say, you know what? Enough is enough.
How can we travel back in time? Is there a time machine? Yes, it's ancient DNA.
We're all chasing these precious time capsules.
It's like our instruction manual for what's coming.
We're stealing genetic secrets of the past so we can rescue the future.
Hunt for the oldest DNA on Nova.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
Investigators say more shooters will face charges for deadly violence at the Chiefs Super Bowl victory rally that left 1 person dead and more than 20 injured.
And as Amy Kiley reports, prosecutors say they've charged 2 men with murder, but won't stop there.
We seek to hold
every shooter accountable for their actions on that day.
Today marks 1 week since the deadly shooting at a Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl rally. Investigators say they're gathering evidence to go after more suspects. That's in addition to the 2 men charged with second-degree murder and other felonies. Prosecutors say Lindell Mays got into an argument with an apparent stranger at the rally and pulled out a gun. They say others did the same and bullets began flying. Prosecutors also allege evidence points to Dominic Miller.
Mr. Miller's firearm struck Lisa Lopez Galvin.
The 43-year-old mother from Kansas is dead as a result of this shooting. The governor of her home state is directing flags to fly at half-staff in her honor Saturday. Officials say more than 20 others were injured, including at least 9 children who got shot.
We will make sure that appropriate punishments are meted out, that justice will be served.
Gun Violence Archive says this was at least the 48th mass shooting of the year. Missouri Democrats are calling for increased safety regulations, while the state's governor...
I don't think this is nothing too new of a conversation for any of us when it comes about the gun laws. I mean, the same problem we're talking about today was the problem we was talking about a year or 2 years ago.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Court officials also announced charges against 2 juveniles. They're accused of resisting arrest and fire alarm violations. After a number of safety and quality-related incidents, Boeing is removing the head of its 737 MAX jet program. Ed Clark is the first executive head to be removed as a result of the situation. The plane has been a massive headache for Boeing starting in 2019, when 2 crashes within 6 months killed 346 people. The Federal Aviation Administration grounded it for 20 months. Then, in January, the door panel of a 737 MAX blew off an Alaskan Airlines mid-flight. Preliminary findings by the National Transportation Safety Board determined that door plug was missing 4 bolts to hold it in place, and it left the factory that way.
Americans have been leaning on credit cards since the pandemic, and Capital One's bid for Discover is a bet that that's not stopping soon. Meanwhile, more consumers have also turned to buy now, pay later loans to sidestep rising interest rates. Karen Kafa has more on what households can do to keep with what they owe.
This week, Capital One announced a $35.3 billion deal to acquire Discover Financial Services. If approved, more changes could be on the way for Americans who have leaned on credit cards since the pandemic amid inflation and higher interest rates. With collective credit card debt over $1 trillion, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York has also been looking at the boom in buy now, pay later installment loans, which allow consumers to make short-term installment payments on travel, concert tickets, apparel, and more without incurring interest. Their research found Americans who are already facing some financial troubles use these offerings more often, with the majority using them 5 or more times a year. Because of the lack of data and formal regulation around buy now, pay later or BNPL loans, Odysseus Papadimitriou, CEO of the personal finance company Wallet Hub, worries that lenders don't have a comprehensive look at how much a household owes.
A lot of these lenders do not have, even the mainstream lenders, even the credit card companies do not have a good picture of what's going on with an individual customer.
That puts more responsibility on consumers to keep track of what they owe, from credit cards to BNPL. Experian recommends a budgeting app to keep it all in one place, setting up auto pay to avoid missing due dates and paying off BNPL loans early if possible. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Consumer Report says that credit report errors are the top complaint to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, with those numbers doubling in 2023, echoing the importance of checking your credit report.
Good evening and happy Wednesday. I hope everyone is having a fantastic week so far. We are halfway there to the weekend. Right now we have some beautiful conditions outside. It's about 59 right now with some clear skies, although we are starting to see some clouds roll into the area. But what was keeping our skies clear was a high pressure system that really pushed everything out of the way. But as we're seeing that push towards the east, we're going to see some things start to happen over to the west that are going to give us some rain tomorrow and even tonight. So first of all, we have a little bit of a warm front down to the south and some high pressure, which is pulling up a lot of warm air and a lot of moisture, which is really going to be pushing up into our area. And then we have this cold front and low pressure system that will be coming in from the west, pushing up right against that, creating these rainy conditions we're going to see. And so although we have this warm pocket of air in the south, that won't really be reaching us tomorrow. We'll be staying around the 50-degree range since we will be seeing some cloud coverage, but we do have this sweeping cold front, and this warm air is really good fuel for that rain that we're going to be seeing these next couple of hours. So tonight we'll be seeing a 70% chance of showers starting around 11 p.m. midnight, just depending on where you are in the state. And we're not expecting that to be a really big downpour. We're expecting most of our rain to happen later tomorrow. And we'll be seeing that overnight low of 42, so quite a big difference from what we saw yesterday. Yesterday we were down in the 20s, but today, since we have a lot of that warm air hanging over us and this cloud coverage that's starting to move in, we'll be keeping a lot of that warm air in towards us. So tomorrow we'll have a high of 57, so not quite as warm, but definitely nicer outside as well as our overnight temperature, again in the 40s, so definitely expect a warm day tomorrow, but you will be needing your umbrella. We are looking at 100% chance of showers, and those will be starting around 8 or 9 in the morning with a lighter rain, taking a break in the afternoon time, and then as soon as we get to about 5, 6 p.m. in the evening, that's when we're going to see a lot more of these showers start to take over and even some thunder. So make sure to grab that umbrella and expect a rainy day tomorrow. So unfortunately, not as nice of a day to get outside and play some sports or go on a nice walk, because we are going to have that warm front coming in tomorrow that's going to be keeping us warm, and then we have this cold front again sweeping through, pushing into this area with this cold air coming down from Canada. That's going to really produce some rain for us, and that's going to carry on into tomorrow night as well. So the system's really just going to hang around, and then as we go into Friday, we really see the system kind of hang out. So we're really going to be seeing some cloud coverage on Friday. A lot of the rain will be done by then, but we are expecting about an inch of rain on Thursday. So if you live in a flood-prone area, be on the lookout for any alerts about your area for those flooding issues. Now we are also going to be seeing a high pressure system be pulling down from Friday along with a cold front. So while we've been enjoying these nice temperatures, that's going to be shifting as we move into this weekend. So Friday we're going to see a 20% chance of rain in the really early morning hours. Again, high of 54, but then we see a big drop, especially as we go into those overnight conditions with that low of 24 degrees. And then Saturday, that's when we really are going to see the effects of that cold front with that high of 39 degrees and that low of 22. So definitely going to be a lot colder out, but we will be seeing that high pressure hang out a little bit with those partly sunny skies, and then that high pressure will also lead to a bit of warming that we're going to be seeing again in the 50s and 60s as we start next week close to 70 degrees.
Thanks, Emily. Excited for that weather. Well, it's a wellness tool that's gained popularity over the years. Journaling is a way to learn about yourself and help you work through feelings, potentially improving your mental health in the process. Mandy Gaither explains how journaling may help you focus and succeed in your daily life.
It's a simple act, writing down what you're thinking and how you feel, but journaling can help you become a better version of yourself.
Some people write for a few minutes every day, others weekly, others just when the inspiration strikes.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, host of the Chasing Life podcast, says journaling is a great way to track both healthy and unhealthy habits and allows a person to maximize when they're at their best. He even tried it himself, writing down everything he did and ate.
Suddenly I had this map of my own life, and I learned a lot about myself, like when I do my best writing, it's in the morning, and foods that inspire me, pickles. I'm not sure why pickles, probably my microbiome, but the point is I learned all this through simple journaling. It helped me learn how to best structure my days for success.
Gupta says journaling can help with focus and productivity and allows a person to gain some insight into themselves. He says it can also help your health.
Research has shown journaling regularly has important benefits, including stress relief, anxiety reduction, reinforcement of your own positive personal qualities.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Joining us now is our sports reporter, Lucy Schaefer.
Lucy, we're about to enter tournament time. It's my favorite time of the year, and I hear things are heating up on the hardwood.
Absolutely, and you guys, I'm so excited to talk about this, but first we'll talk about some TVC Ohio players that have gained some well-earned recognition, and I'll be back to break that all down when we return. And for the latest from Newswatch, follow us on Instagram, X, formerly Twitter, and YouTube.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
I'm going to get started.
Come on. Watch me.
These are your immigrant ancestors.
Wow.
What's in that? God, sorry. You're alive.
I am!
Gospel music is soul.
Amen, brother.
This is amazing.
I'm Rick Steves. Join me as we scale the mighty Alps. We'll travel through 5 different alpine countries and see some of Europe's most iconic mountains. Along the way, we'll conquer many of these peaks, enjoying plenty of thin air thrills. We'll visit charming towns and experience lots of unique alpine culture. And finally, we'll hike from easy day trips to a classic long-distance tour.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
There's this extraterrestrial quality to sperm whales. It's a world that we know nothing about. There was one whale that came a bit closer. She was so interested and so curious. I think she's gonna take me into her world.
Tonight at 8 on WOUB.
Welcome back to Newswatch. We've got a full slate for sports tonight, so let's get into it. Starting at the high school level, awards for all district teams for girls basketball got announced this morning. The Athens Lady Bulldogs have made some noise this season. Junior Asa Holcomb made first team, while sophomore Ella Chapman got an honorable mention for D1 and D2 play. Air Levy, Brenly Cottrell, and Kaylee Hudnall also made the list for special awards in the TBC. Shifting into last night's action, the 10th-seeded Vinton County Vikings traveled to 7th-seeded Jackson for the sectional semifinal. The Ironmen started fast from the jump, staying in front of the Vikings with the entire game with a halftime score of 20-11. In the second half, their offense lit up even more, and their defense held VC to only 8 points. Jackson dominated and won 48-28. The Megs Marauders also competed in a sectional final last night, hosting the 9th-seeded Fairfield Union Falcons. The Marauders controlled the game for most of the first half, led by Caden Geen, but the Falcons took it and ran with it after the break. Fairfield Union outscored Megs 34-16 in the second half and won 64-54 to move on to the district semifinal on Saturday. Finally, the Eastern Eagles played their first tournament game last night against the White Oak Wildcats. White Oak kept the slight edge on Eastern all night. They were up 25-21 at half, and out of the break, Eastern's Derek Barnes hit 5 threes in the third quarter. However, this just wasn't enough. Eastern fell 60-47 to the Wildcats, led by Weston Blair with 18 points. Jumping over to the college level, Ohio men's basketball earned its first season sweep against Kent State since 2013 last night. The first 20 minutes were slow for Ohio, shooting just 9 for 25 from the field. Kent State took the lead in a physical first half, 33-27. Second half was a different story. The Bobcats kept it close. Threes from Miles Brown and A.J. Sheldon gave Ohio the edge, and it won 63-57 in the final minutes. Coach Bowles talked about his team's mindset for the future. The combo will be seeing action again tonight when Ohio women's basketball takes the court against Kent State. Kent State is coming off of a 77-54 win against Western Michigan at home, and they sit at 3rd place in the MAC standings. Ohio hasn't been seeing as much success, leaving the convo last week with a loss against Ball State 75-65. The Bobcats look to return this around tonight. Switching over to the Diamond, Ohio's softball pitcher Skip Miller was named Mid-American Conference Pitcher of the Week after an impressive 3-0 performance last weekend at the 2024 Spiro Classic. Miller walked 6 batters and struck out 15 over the course of the weekend and pitched the entirety of the first game against Sacred Heart. Softball will be back in action this weekend in Chattanooga, playing in the 2024 Frost Classic.
Yeah, Lucy, it's win or go home for those high school basketball teams, but those TVC teams seem like they're doing okay.
No, it really did. And there were a lot of teams that got knocked out last night, but the girls' tournament is still continuing into this weekend, and the boys obviously started their play this weekend, so it's been really exciting to be able to watch for sure.
Thanks, Lucy. Still ahead, Help Wanted, how you could take an almost real trip to Mars. But first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Postseason is in full swing, and we've got some big matchup ahead. For the girls, top dog Waterford and 9th seed Tribble battle it out for a third time this season. The 7th-seeded Athens takes on the number 2-seeded Circleville, and on the boys' side, 10th-seeded Vinton County goes head-to-head with the 7th-seeded Jackson Ironman. Episode 6 airs this upcoming Sunday at 11 p.m. and Monday at 6 p.m. And as always, we're reminding you to be heroic.
Sometimes we have to look that monster right in the face. Show we're not afraid of it anymore.
Love is the best thing we have. It's the only thing we have.
No more secrets. I just want to be right here in this moment with you.
I trust nothing untoward has occurred.
Bright things ahead, darling. Brightness and joy.
Those that underestimate us should do so at their own peril.
And if they do, so bloody what?
Open your eyes.
Action! Best episode ever.
If you don't drive it, donate it and support something you use every day.
Finally tonight, NASA is looking for applicants to take part in a simulated one-year mission to Mars. Volunteers will help the agency plan for human exploration of the red planet. The second of 3 planned group-based missions is scheduled to kick off in spring of 2025. Each mission includes volunteer crew members living and working inside a 1,700 square foot habitat at NASA's Houston Space Center. The crew's tasks include simulated spacewalks, robotic operations, habitat maintenance, exercise, and crop growth. The deadline for applicants is Tuesday, April 2nd. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm sitting the fake space simulation.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would never go to space for the simulation, just as scary.
I would definitely go, honestly.
Really?
Yes.
For a whole year?
I don't know about a whole year, but maybe for a little less than that.
Yeah.
I'm with you like that, but at least tonight it's going to be nice outside, so I wouldn't want to go to Mars because I want to be too busy enjoying this beautiful weather that we have. Tonight we're expecting an overnight low of 42 degrees and a 70% chance of showers. Tomorrow it's going to be a 100% chance of showers, so maybe you want to reconsider that trip to Mars if you're not going to be seeing any rain. But tomorrow we'll be seeing a high of 57 degrees and a low of 41, so definitely on the warmer side of things. And we're expecting those showers to take off in the morning times, take a little bit of a break in the afternoon, but really take off, maybe even some thunderstorms around 5 p.m. tomorrow night. And we're really going to see this low pressure system hanging around our area, but right behind it is a cold front. So while we are seeing these warm conditions today and tomorrow, by Friday night into Saturday, that's when we're really going to see a big drop in temperatures, with Saturday being a high of 39 degrees and that overnight low back down into the 20s, but we will be seeing some sunshine, and unfortunately that's going to set us off for another week of rain, but at least we'll be back up in the 70s, so quite a wild week for weather.
Thanks, Emily. That does it for our broadcast this evening. Thank you so much for watching. For Emily Dietz and Lucy Schaefer, I'm Cameron Nutt.
And I'm Haley Swayno. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org or follow us on social media. Have a great night.
Support comes from Goldsberry Wealth Strategies in Athens and Parkersburg, focusing on helping people achieve a life well lived with a custom strategy. Information at goldsberrywealth.com. Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Support for PBS NewsHour is proudly provided by